transfer portal update. And before I get into the transfer portal update, I just want to talk about UCLA for a second. Have you guys ever seen or met somebody who claims to be great and they talk about all these great things they've ever done or what they're going to do in the future, and then they just turn out to be, okay. Like, I remember I had a young soldier. He worked for me, right? It was this staff sergeant. And I'm his first sergeant. I'm telling him what to do. And I told him all the different tasks that needed to be done for the day. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, that's it? I'll get all that done before lunch." That's what he said to me. "I'll get all that done before lunch." And then lunch came. I didn't hear from him. COB, close of business, comes about 4 or 5 p.m. shows up. He's still not around. I haven't seen this guy. I don't know what's going on. And then he comes into my office at 6:30. Comes into my office and he's like, "Hey, Top, I got to talk to you for a second." I'm like, "Okay, man. Where's your platoon sergeant? You don't need to be talking to me without your platoon sergeant. Where's your platoon sergeant? Go get him." So he goes and gets them. They show up. They come back to my office. I said, "What do you guys need to talk about? What's going on?" "Well, you see, you gave us that list of things to do today, but some things came up, and I got a phone call, and I had to go do this and do that." And I'm telling you, the man tap danced and made excuses forever. All for the next 30 minutes, just kept explaining himself to me. At the end of the day, nothing got done the way it was supposed to be done. He got nothing, none of the requirements done. Obviously, I was pretty upset. Now, there was a counterpart. There was another guy, another staff sergeant, and I gave him all the same task or a very similar task to do. Didn't say anything other than, "Roger that. Let me get my head down. Let me go get to work, and let me knock this shit out." And by COB, by close of business, he was done with everything I required of him. And he went above and beyond the expectation. He impressed me immensely, and it was time to do evaluations. I remember it was time to do their evaluations, and they were scurrying over to my office. And that first guy, the one who overpromised and underdelivered, that first guy was advocating up and down on how he should have the best eval in the company under his senior rater. And he said, "Come on, Top, you got to help me out here. This can't be happening to me." And I looked at him and I said, "Do you remember 3 months ago when you talked about how great you were and the results were substandard?" I said, "Do you have any idea what the number one guy?" He didn't know who the number one guy was. I said, "Let me tell you what the number one guy did. He underpromised and overdelivered." He didn't just overpromise and underdeliver. He underpromised and overdelivered. And we need to do that in every walk of life, in every path of life. And if there was ever a coaching staff that is following that mantra, it's UCLA. Deshaun Foster's not on social media bragging about anything. Deshaun Foster doesn't have a bunch of fancy slogans or any of that shit. Deshaun Foster got his dream job. He's at his alma mater. And the first thing he did was start incorporating some of his old traditions, some of the things he used to do when he was a player. He started recruiting and getting things the way he wanted it to, and that meant nationally. I'm telling you guys this, UCLA's best players are not from LA. UCLA's most historic players, Jonathan Ogden, Troy Aikman, these guys are from other parts of the country. They're not from LA. He wants to be a national recruiting team. And he wants to win, and he wants to do things a different way. He has NFL pedigree. That's a former NFL player, much more recently than a lot of these other coaches that claim to be great. UCLA just won 8 games and still let their head coach walk. They wanted to fire him anyways because they have a winning culture, because they have the resources, and they know how good they are. They're out here actually doing what other people claim to be. Like UCLA is the team that others think they are. Like there's other programs out there go, yeah, we're that guy. We're them. Do it for the culture? How about Eric Bieniemy is your offensive coordinator? How about that culture? You want NFL pedigree and culture? Eric sleeping with the enemy, Bieniemy is your offensive coordinator. Deshaun Foster is your head coach. And now you got a 4-star kid who got out of your backyard because he went to Etiwanda. That's in Upland, California. He was the quarterback at Etiwanda, and he somehow got up to, Washington. Fine. Enrolled early in January. This is a 2024 kid. This is not a 2023 kid who redshirted for a year. They just got a quarterback locked in from this recruiting class. It's remarkable because they weren't going to get him because of Dante Moore. And remember, Dante Moore was stinking it up last year. People don't want to talk about it, but Dante Moore, a 5-star quarterback, had no business starting. No 5-star quarterbacks have any business starting as true freshmen. You should be redshirting, learning the ropes, getting better. There's got to be a guy on your roster better than that guy. There has to be. And in this case, there was. UCLA had a better quarterback. Ethan Garbers is much better. Ethan Garbers, completion percentage, 67%. You're talking about this bum throwing 53. 11 touchdowns. Equivalent touchdowns, interception ratio 11-3. Sacks, way down. We're talking about a guy who knows what to do with the ball, how to get rid of it in rhythm. And Ethan Garbers looked the part in the spring game this year. Just a couple weeks ago, he looked like a starting quarterback. Number 4, go watch the tape. I know you guys aren't watching tape on every team. I am. I'm telling you, Dante Moore finally leaving opens the door for a young man, a hometown hero, to come back home and actually play for the team that matters. And this is winning in your backyard. Y'all don't know, man. Upland, Tustin, Santa Margarita, like this is historic CIF Southern Section stuff for us. This matters. Okay, so if you ever wanted to talk about a team and a fan base that should be pulling for the culture, UCLA fans should be everywhere, and a bunch of you punk-ass bandwagon fans should be showing up too, rocking UCLA. But you're not because you're fake, because you don't know football and you don't know who really can get you to the league. UCLA just had a first-round draft pick in Latu Latou. Like, UCLA gets guys to the NFL, and we ain't talking about undrafted free agents. We're talking about draft picks, first round. They win games. They win bowl games. They're in the greatest conference in America. Man, you guys are messing with the wrong one. UCLA is who you should be rocking with. Shout out to Deshaun Foster. I'm in your corner till something goes wrong, right? And when I mean something goes wrong, if you make unethical decisions, if you carry yourself in an unethical way, then I'll rock with you. But right now, as a young man, as a man who came up in the southern section, straight out of Riverside County, Inland Empire, like, I'm not messing with anything else. UCLA is them. I'm rocking with it all day. Shout out to you. Shout out to the Bruins. Don't at me. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows.